In one of my recent videos, I said no one's favorite Call of Duty Zombies game could be Cold War because the maps are so ass. This got some negative reactions, mostly from my doppelganger Ashton7209, who commented, "I was gonna watch this video, but the Cold War slander less than 20 seconds in definitely turned me off."
A good 17 people agreed with this sentiment, which is a lot for my small ass channel. I didn't even know Cold War stands existed, but suddenly 17 of them materialized. This got me thinking if I treated Cold War too harshly. Maybe it was wrong for me to stir up shit less than 30 seconds into the video. So I decided to revisit Cold War Zombies.
First, let me be real with you though. When I decided I was gonna make this video, I did it with malicious evil intent. I saw people saying I was wrong about Cold War and decided I'd make a whole video essay proving them wrong. That will show those YouTube internet people that I don't even know.
But when I replayed all the Cold War maps, I made a discovery. Not saying I was yelling yippee and creaming my jorts while playing these maps, but I didn't hate it. And suddenly this malicious video idea of talking about why Cold War sucks ass dissolved into ash. I had to stop and reflect because my previous ideas were challenged. Was Ashton7209 right? Did I let nostalgia for a bygone era of COD Zombies blind me? Is the warzonification of zombies just helping it expand into audiences who wouldn't try it beforehand? Was my slander unjustified? Or do I have reasonable gripes? Is the warzonification of zombies taking a creative love project and turning it into something that Activision thinks will make the most amount of money? Is COD Zombies even made for me at this point?
I went on a goddamn spiritual journey trying to find the answer to these questions. A journey I want to take you on. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and watch a 20-year-old man lose his shit over a video game.
But before we can dive into the meat of Cold War, we first need to talk about zombies' evolution from World at War to Cold War, as that development is critical to understand to see where my problems with Cold War started. I already talked about the startings of COD Zombies on the Wanted video, but just so we're all on the same page, here's the basic info you need to know. World at War developers, more specifically Jesse Snyder, wanted to add an extra game mode to the game, and being inspired by tower defense games, they made Nazi zombies. They did this without any guarantee anyone would like this, which is a big point I'll circle back to later. The first Zombies map, Nocturne Toten, was extremely simple. You spawn in this fuck-ass bunker with nothing but a pistol and the horde is coming. You shoot and kill zombies to get points, which you then spend on getting better guns, either through what are known as wall buys or by gambling at the mystery box. Zombies very well could have just died and fell into obscurity there and no one would have been surprised. Because at a first glance, how do you even expand this game mode? But god damn it, little did we know those Treyarch devs were some geniuses who would create one of the most iconic game modes to ever exist. World at War Zombies got 3 expansion maps: Verrucht, Shinonuma, and Darice. I mostly want to focus on Verrucht and Darice as they added the most amount of innovation to Call of Duty Zombies, and basically laid the groundwork for what would become one of Call of Duty's most successful modes. The first DLC map, Verrucht, had the first major innovations the game mode would see. There were multiple, but the biggest one without a doubt were the perk machines. Quick Revive made you revive your friends faster if they went down, Double Tap increased the fire rate of guns by 33%, Picola makes you reload 50% faster, and Juggernog, the arguably most iconic and useful of the perks, increased how many hits you could take from zombies before you went down. The reason why these perk additions were so huge were they added a whole nother dimension to the game mode. High rounding became a possibility with these perks. Add that with how much bigger Verrucht is compared to Nocturne and Toten. Smell that? I think Treyarch might be cooking some heat. Unfortunately here, I have to be a stereotypical YouTuber and not give you any more information than the bare minimum that you probably already know. Not because I don't want to, but because literally I cannot find any development history on any of these perks. And god damn it, I tried. My ass was getting ready to email Jesse Snyder, but alas, that email is not public information. Unfortunately, this trend continues through all of Call of Duty Zombie history, so if it feels like I'm not giving enough information, that's why. While Shinonuma would introduce the characters of Tank Dempsey, Nikolai Volensky, Takio Masaki, and Edward Richthofen, which will be the main characters we follow throughout the Aoife story, the biggest thing added after Verrucht was the Pack-a-Punch machine introduced in Darice. Pack-a-Punch costs 5,000 points and it simply makes weapons better. Weapons output more damage, they have bigger magazines, they fire phony lasers, and some of them get attachments. With the addition of perks and Pack-a-Punch, you no longer had to be a try-hard gamer to get over round 15. The gameplay loop became addicting rather than something you just played once and then never again. All of Zombies after this would more or less follow these basic principles. You spawn in with 500 points, zombies start attacking you, and each round zombies get stronger. You kill zombies to get more points, which makes you stronger to then be able to kill more zombies. The only real objective there was at World at War Zombies was to get to the highest round possible. How you do that after you turn on the power is completely up to you. But the horde is still gonna come forever, and eventually you will die. That was Snyder's original whole point with zombies. He wanted to make a game mode where you felt helpless. But this would start to shift when Call of Duty Black Ops was released. Treyarch was put into another peculiar situation after World at War when it came to zombies. What else can you add to this mode? You've basically perfected the core formula with 4 maps. Well, to start off with, not much. Without a doubt, Treyarch had to have some bigger plans for what would come in the expansions, but the first two maps, being Kino der Toten and 5, were pretty safe. You don't really see any new major innovations. Sure, they added new weapons and Nova crawlers, but that was basically nothing compared to the major jumps that we saw in World at War. However, this isn't a bad thing. If you ask some casual fans what their favorite maps are, some will probably say Kino der Toten. This lack of innovation, however, radically shifted with the release of the first DLC map, Ascension. Zombie Easter eggs have technically existed since Verrückt, but that was fucking baby mode compared to what would come. In Verrückt, all you had to do to activate the music Easter egg was flush a toilet 3 times. Yeah, I wish you had to only flush a fucking toilet in Garage Kroby.
Okay, awesome. That's so fucking cool.
This would be slightly expanded upon in Der Riese with the hide and seek Easter egg, and with the hidden radios that tell you the really awesome and know what convoluted story behind the zombies. But where we see the first long form Easter egg is in Ascension, which in completing, you got nothing but a death machine. Ooh, really cool and awesome. Thank you, Treyarch. Ascension marks a huge shift because from here to Black Ops 4, there really weren't any new gameplay additions. Sure, Treyarch would add some new perks or some new wonder weapons, but the fundamental gameplay would stay the same with some slight exceptions. What Treyarch really started to focus on was the story and Easter egg each map had. But in BO1, the Easter eggs were just that. Extras. You weren't really expected to complete them. A new goal was added to the game in trying to figure out or trying to complete the Easter egg, but it still wasn't the main focus. The main goal was still to survive and kill the boss zombies which were added, such as the icon George Romero. Shangri-La and Moon would have much grander Easter eggs which actually gave the players good benefits, such as giving the players all the perks after completion of the Easter egg. They also had really cool map shifts, such as the eclipse in Shangri-La and blowing up the fucking Earth in Moon. But along with there being cool results in doing the Easter egg, they also got much more complex, which is a trend that would basically continue until Cold War. Black Ops 2 had some really big swings and misses early on. Transit really tried to have a grand map which you could explore, but due to engine limitations, a lot of the map really just became annoying to deal with. Die Rise, while probably being judged a little too harshly, still wasn't that great of a map either. Where shit really got good though was with the later Black Ops 2 maps, more specifically Mob of the Dead and Origins. While we had major shifts in zombies gameplay with Verrückt and Der Riese, Mob of the Dead is the equivalent of major shifts when it came to the objective zombies presented. The main reason behind this was the actual Black Ops campaign team was the one behind this map, which led to the Easter egg now being front and center with what the map actually wanted you to do. It wasn't this grand side thing anymore. I mean, it even had a game over screen when you got to the end of the Easter egg. Origins was the spiritual successor to Mob of the Dead, continuing the trend of the story Easter egg quest being the primary way the game wanted you to experience the map. I should note, however, with these big objective quests, these maps are not casual in any sense of the word, which is going to become a big problem when further maps are released in Black Ops 3. If you want to get the full experience out of these maps, you need to watch a 20-minute guide on what to do. Because the Easter eggs are so obtuse and hard to figure out, I'm sure anyone who did figure this out still has PTSD from doing it. This brings us to the classic-ass golden standard of Call of Duty Zombies. This college boy who once made a Black Ops 3 video without playing any of the base Black Ops 3 maps has finally played and beat them all, but that's something we'll talk about later in the video. Black Ops 3 took the ramping up of the story that Black Ops 2 did and took it all the way up to 27. There is one casual map in all of Black Ops 3, and that's the Giant, which is just a remake of Der Riese. Kino type maps were long gone in this new era, and that was a problem for casual players. Shadows of Evil is probably my all-time favorite Black Ops Zombies maps, not including mods. The aesthetic is amazing, proving once again that art direction will always trump graphics. I love the cast, hell, I even enjoyed most of the Easter egg, but I completely understand why any casual fan would completely detest this map. Gone were the days of turning on 4 teleporters to turn on Pack-a-Punch. Now you gotta turn into this monster worm thing and get a bunch of things and go a bunch of different places and do just a bunch of shit. Treyarch simply forgot people don't like taking time to learn things. If I can't instantly learn something and be good at it immediately, why should I waste my time trying to attempt it anymore? This is where I want to introduce the concept of broadcasting and narrowcasting. Broadcasting is making something that appeals to the most amount of people. Think about a PG-13 Marvel movie. The reason these movies make so much money is not only do they appeal to a bunch of children, but also a bunch of adults as well. Narrowcasting is the idea of doing the opposite, only making something that a certain small group of people will like. The best example of this is when cable TV arrived and disrupted the big networks. Think MTV. Black Ops 3 Zombies, while not super duper narrowcasted, is still decently narrowcasted. Or at the very least, doing the Easter egg is super narrowcasted. To beat these maps, you gotta be a pretty determined Zombies player. As I said before, these Easter eggs are so obtuse and hard to do, you will be slamming your head against the wall over and over and over again. Not many casual fans have the time or the will to spend 8 hours trying to do an Easter egg. Hell, they don't want to spend an hour just trying to learn how to to open Pack-a-Punch. But I am no casual fan. I'm a YouTuber making a video, probably making me one of the most determined humans to live. I'll talk about this when we get to the next part of the video, but this is the biggest difference post Black Ops 3. Okay, just stick with me a little longer. We're almost to the opinion piece, I promise. Now, never have I played Black Ops 4 Zombies, nor do I ever intend to, thanks Activision for making every game you make $60 till the end of time. But from what I've seen, the problems that I have with Cold War started in Black Ops 4. Being able to bring a loadout, specialist weapons, and just a more appeal to casual players, it definitely had a big shift from narrowcasting to broadcasting. However, the developers, while wanting to try to appeal to a casual audience, still didn't want to give up the hardcore Easter egg hunting. So they tried to make the Easter eggs hard, but the way they did this was just adding a bunch of super tedious, bloated steps. Finally, we get to the beast itself. Cold War. This is a major point I'll talk about in the next part of this video, but while Cold War is technically a successor to all the zombie modes that came before it, it's basically an entirely different game. Zombies now have health bars, guns now have a rarity. You no longer just start out with a pistol, but you can almost start out with any weapon you want. You no longer just awake in this area, but are flown in by a helicopter. You have a mini-map, objective markers, people constantly telling you what to do. Zombies became a roguelite which had meta progression, such as upgradable perks, abilities, and weapons. If it didn't have the zombies name tag, you would assume this is just an entirely different game mode, but it has the zombies name tag, so whether it should or shouldn't be compared to old school zombies, it will. This has been a brief overview of zombies history, albeit not the full story, as that's not the point of this video. If you want the extensive rundown on every map up to Vanguard, I recommend watching Marco Styles' an hour-and-a-half video on this topic. It's really good stuff and helped me out a lot making this video. But with history out of the way, let's get into whether if I judge Cold War zombies too harshly.
Going into this experiment, I didn't think it was fair to just play the Cold War maps and then ramble at a cloud about why I hate them. I needed something to compare them to. So I made the decision that not only would I play and beat all the Cold War maps, but I would also play and beat all the vanilla BO3 maps. Needless to say, this decision that I thought wouldn't be a big deal has had radical effects on my mental psyche.
Cold War Zombies took me about 13.6 hours to complete all 4 maps, so I did it in one night more or less. I thought the BO3 maps would maybe take me a little more time, just maybe be a little bit harder, but nothing crazy, right? Anyone who has played all the BO3 maps and done all the Easter eggs should now be laughing in my face. It took me 46.8 hours to do all of the BO3 maps plus Origins with my good friend Big Al Man. We were fucking clocking in at 9 to 5 to play some goddamn zombies maps day to day. So you can see by looking at this hour differential that BO3 is maybe just slightly harder than Cold War. The way I'm going to approach this is the same way I approach playing Cold War in BO3. I'm going to start with all the Cold War maps, then jump over to the BO3 maps, and then we'll end with a general reflection. So starting off Cold War, me and Alex load up Die Machine, and within the first 25 minutes, Alex's game just crashes. Welcome to modern AAA games. In Cold War, somehow newer drivers just break the game and make it crash, so you either need to cap your frame rate to 90 or install older drivers. Alex, even after capping his frames, crashed multiple times, leading to me needing to do all the Cold War Easter eggs by myself. I had already capped my frames to 60 before I knew any of this, and even then I still fucking crashed. Some other technical issues include private parties straight up not working and just letting anyone in, people not being able to rejoin your game after disconnecting, not being able to queue for a match at all at some points, objectives within the lobby taking 17 years to load in even on a fast SSD, somehow not being able to knife a zombie through a fucking window even though that's been in the game since BO3, and of course, who can forget not being able to exit the Pack-a-Punch menu right after you Pack-a-Punch your gun, leading to all the zombies mauling you alive.
So in short, thank you Activision, very cool for not fixing any of these issues in a now 5-year-old game.
But with all the technical issues out of the way, let's talk about what I like about Cold War. First off, it looks really good, I can't deny that. It lacks the art direction of BO3, but the graphics are still A+. The guns also just feel really good. My biggest complaint with BO3 is I just don't like the way the weapons feel, and I don't have that here. Maybe it's because the weapons don't match up to the time frame of the zombies maps, or just these futuristic guns feel bad to use. But in BO3, I'm always going to be running Dingo and a Wonder Weapon. In Cold War, I feel like I have more options when it comes to my loadout. Tying into that, the gameplay just feels nice. While I'm still upset they got rid of the slide canceling because developers just hate fun, running around feels good. Not as good as BO3, but still good. Other than that, the boss zombies are fun to deal with, the Wonder Weapons feel good, they have a nice punch to them. You can vault over things, that's a nice quality of life change. They got rid of the perk limit, I enjoy that. But that's about it for everything I enjoy. Okay, now what do I really dislike about Cold War? Any immersion that existed in previous zombie games is just gone. It's gone. While previous zombie games tried to have an invisible style where you got drawn into the game and completely forgot you were playing a game. Shout out sick guitar riff that would play when you leveled up in Black Ops 3. Cold War throws that out entirely. You are constantly reminded that you are playing a video game and you don't need to worry because zombies, they're not real, silly goose. Zombie health bars, how much damage you are doing to the zombie when you hit them, getting fucking medals for doing the most trivial of things. The minimap, objective markers, weapons having rarity, characters showing up on the side of your screen telling you what to do. All of this reminds you to the fact that this is a video game, making immersion basically impossible. That style of game is not for me. I want to be sucked into a game, not constantly reminded that I am playing one. Especially with a game that relies on immersion as much as Call of Duty Zombies does. A great point I saw is when you see an enemy with a health bar, you instantly know it's killable. So when I see a megaton with a health bar, it's instantly less scary. I know if I put enough bullets into it, it will eventually die. Compare that to my favorite boss zombie, the Margwa. The Margwa doesn't have a health bar. That fucker just spawns in and charges you down. So your first instinct when you see it is to run. Even when you know how to kill it, it has a much bigger weight compared to any of the boss zombies in Cold War. Also, dude, I fucking hate voiceless operators who thought this was a good idea. When I'm playing Maxis and she says some dumb shit like, "Never dare get so close to me," it makes me want to slam my head against a brick wall. I think it's so stupid that you can play as any operator who just won't react to what's happening in front of them. They have no chemistry with each other. They have no chemistry with the fucking game mode that they're in. I want to hear the dynamic between Richtofen and Dempsey. I want to hear what Nikolai and Takio think about the situation they're in. I don't want to hear some dumbass operator say, "Enemy appears dead," or "Take that, zombie." The only people reacting to any of the events are the side characters, and I don't give a shit about the side characters. I don't care what Weaver or Dr. Gray have to say about the situation because they aren't here. I am not playing as them. That brings me to how everyone is always telling you what to do. Bro, shut the fuck up. We do not care. Remember when I said BO3 is slightly narrowcasted? Well, Cold War is the complete opposite. It is extremely broadcasted. They aren't looking for great times that 10 people have, they're looking for okay times that 100 people have. Getting the Pack-a-Punch has never been simpler. Just follow the giant objectives on the map. You can't miss them. Cold War does try to have a foot in both camps though, because right after you get Pack-a-Punch, everyone goes radio silent and you have to go watch my goat, Mr. Raffle Waffles, to figure out how to do the Easter egg. But even then, the Easter egg seems so much simpler compared to previous games. I was able to do the Forsaken Easter egg in one try, but the Easter eggs aren't just easier, the entire game is easier. Every map has a bunch of wide open ground for you to train in. You now have access to kill streaks that mow down thousands of zombies at once. Any schmuck can get up to round 30 now with little to no trouble, especially with the meta progression. Did you know in Cold War that you can upgrade your melee to be a Bowie knife and it instantly kills zombies up to like round 12? Hell, you can just bring the normal knife in your loadout and have an insta-kill all early game. Yippee! You can also just run Ether Shroud and have a get out of jail free card anytime you're in a bad situation. Is that similar to the in plain sight gobblegum that BO3 has? Sure, but you know what doesn't recharge? In plain sight, while Ether Shroud does. The game becomes brain dead easy when you have all the meta progression, and if you can't tell by now, I just don't like it. Let's take the meta progression for Juggernog as an example. If you remember, old school Juggernog lets you take 5 hits before you go down. To get to that in Cold War, you need to upgrade Juggernog 3 times. So instead of having a perk with its base ability and you just upgrading it from there, you need to upgrade the perk to get it back to its base ability. The last thing I have mixed feelings on is the trial system. In Cold War, there are trials you can do to get rewards, but you can stack up trials to get better rewards. This again plays into the overt nature that I don't really like, but also I do like having something to do when I need to wait a couple rounds before I can go forward with the Easter egg. With that being said though, the legendary rewards you get for doing the trials are pretty crazy, such as getting a wonder weapon round 6 or 7 after doing 3 or 4 trials. And getting the wonder weapon by doing specific secret things that the devs laid out becomes too much of a hassle compared to just stay in an area for a certain amount of time or kill zombies from close range.
So after hearing all this, you probably think I have you fooled and I actually despise this game, but that's not the case. While I have my personal problems, I had a mild amount of fun playing this game.
The core gameplay of Cold War Zombies is fun to get through. I totally get how if you're a newer player who wasn't around for the pre-BO4 days, you would probably have a pretty fun time. Hell, I was around for the pre-BO4 days and I still had a good time. If you really give into the arcadiness of Cold War and forget how there is a long lineage of much better games that came before this one, I can see how some of these could be your favorite maps. So yeah, that dumbass who made the Wanted video was maybe a little gun-ho with making jokes about Cold War. Speaking of the maps, let's finally talk about them. Die Machine is basically the mission statement of Cold War Zombies. Take what's old and use its foundation for something completely new. The map centers around Noct from World at War, but now the player gets to see what's on the outside of the fuck-ass bunker that started this entire series. There are so many places to train, so much so that I have no doubt in my mind that Treyarch was trying to do another Keynote type situation where anyone could load up this map and be decently good at it. The gameplay features we've talked about really add on to this feeling. When me and Alex were first playing, I had to go do something and was AFK for over 30 minutes. You would think that I would die and lose everything being gone for so long, but nope, Alex kept me alive for that full time. Not even really keeping a zombie, mind you. Beyond that, there really isn't much to talk about. I like the Megaton as a boss. He's kind of chill, I guess. I fuck with him. The DIE is really fun to use and the upgrades are cool, but you will use the lightning one because it's objectively the best. I mean, look at this shit. The Easter egg is pretty boring and it ends with you just defending a guy, so I think this map gets a 5 out of 10. Firebase Z is an upgrade compared to Die Machine. I like the aesthetic of the map more and it just feels better. I like the rounds where you need to defend the trenches from a zombie onslaught. I like the mimics as bosses. I like that the Manglers return from BO2, BO3. Orta may be a super easy boss, but he's kind of cool, I guess. The worst part of this map, power is the stupid fuck-ass Easter egg step where you need to catch mimics. But not just any mimics, only mimics that spawn off the ground from items that can only appear once per round. Beyond that, final boss, as I said, easy as fuck, so I think this map gets a 6 out of 10. Mauer der Toten is probably my favorite of all the Cold War maps. Definitely has the best aesthetic out of all of them. I like the Berlin Wall section of the map. I like the underground section of the map. Klaus, without a doubt, is my homie. The Cerberus is a really good wonder weapon. Again, Cold War kills it when it comes to wonder weapons and them being super strong. I think the bosses added are pretty cool. The Easter egg is fine, better than Firebase Z and Die Machine. The final boss is actually decently fun and a little hard to fight against. Finally, Forsaken, without a doubt the weakest Cold War map there is. Like almost a real genuine stinger. Where Mauer der Toten felt decently inspired, Forsaken felt like the devs had nothing left in them. The map just feels super boring. It's also just so forgettable. The map is just one giant blur in my head. The Crystal Wonder Weapon is cool, but I skipped any of the steps going to get it and just used the trials because that was the easier way to go about it. The final boss is super disappointing and lame and easy to deal with. Literally got nothing else to say. Boring ass map, 3 out of 10.
You're probably thinking, Ash, there's a whole game mode you haven't talked about. Are you going to touch on Outbreak at all?
No, I'm not. Outbreak isn't comparable to old school zombies at all. It's a whole new beast entirely. It's definitely where Treyarch put most of their attention, but today we are focused on the round-based zombie maps, so fucking sue me, I don't care, bro. So after I finished Cold War Zombies, I had a whole new perspective on these maps. I didn't have a full change of heart, but now I could understand why someone would like these maps, especially if you are a casual fan. If you just want to run around and not really think too much, then yeah, these maps are for you. I too sometimes just want to shoot the shit with the boys, but I also like there being at least some depth, which I feel like Cold War lacks. But with my Cold War journey over in one night, I was excited to go to Black Ops 3 and play these maps, which I heard so much good about.
Cold War Easter eggs, like, I think every map took me 2 times. I feel like this is gonna be a little bit harder.
What the fuck do you mean? I'm upset.
So Alex and me started Origins, and within the first game, I realized all my hopes of finishing the BO3 maps quickly died. Going from Cold War to BO3 difficulty-wise is like going from a nice walk in the park to trying to survive the trenches of Verdun. As we've talked about, Cold War is super forgiving on how it treats you. While all the Cold War maps have a bunch of space to train in, Origins has small enclosed areas with mud to slow you down. Where Cold War has trials to get you the wonder weapon, BO3 has you do a 37-step hellish process just to get any wonder weapons at all. Oh, and if you don't do that by round 8, here's the fucking boss zombie that just comes and instantly kills you. I truly think doing all these Easter eggs has tested my gamer skills like never before, besides maybe the Souls games. It was absolute hell.
But before we talk about that hell, let's do what we did with Cold War and talk about what I love about base BO3.
Firstly, what Black Ops 3 nails is aesthetic. Nearly every map is a 10 out of 10 when it comes to that. Some are weaker, don't get me wrong, but when Treyarch was hidden, they were hitting nothing but dingers. Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache, Gerard Krovi, hell, even Revelations with its nostalgia bait is still beautiful. Even though Cold War without a doubt has much better graphics, I think BO3 is a lot more pleasing to play through and definitely a lot more memorable. Adding on to that, the characters are just so much fun. Going from operators to actually active characters is like going from brown pigeon slop to ribeye steak. It's such a simple thing, but having characters that react to the environment around them does so much for immersing you into the game. Beyond that, call me simple, but I love the base foundation that World at War made. I don't think there's much you can do to improve it besides making a whole nother game mode like Cold War did. I like starting with a pistol. I like early round economy and needing to be smart with your money, especially if you're doing an Easter egg. I like the Cold War movement, but the Black Ops 3 movement feels so much better with slide canceling. But the thing I learned to like the most about Black Ops 3 Zombies was the sense of accomplishment it gave me. It was truly hell getting through these Easter eggs, and trust me, I failed over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Dude, it was awful. To the point of me baby raging multiple times. Some of the steps are bullshit, sure, but just finding that will to persevere and get it done is a feeling few other games have made me feel. I actually felt accomplished doing these seemingly seemingly impossible tasks, where my hand was never held by anyone but Mr. Ruffle Waffle's guides. It was my own skill that led me to completing these Easter eggs, and it felt really good. Dude, in my Wanted video, I made fun of the 0.6 GPA kids who knew how to do all the zombie Easter eggs, but I get it now because you need all your fucking brain power just to learn them. With all that being said, let's talk about the zombie-sized elephant in the room, BO3's Gobblegums. I think if BO3 only had classic Gobblegums, there really wouldn't be a problem at all. They'd be just something extra to help the player out. Some of the classic Gobblegums are really strong, such as In Plain Sight and Anywhere But Here. They're similar to Cold War's Aether Shroud and act as a get-out-of-jail-free card, but they are also limited in use and somewhat random if you get them or not, compared to just a usable that recharges after you get a certain amount of kills. But the Mega Gobblegums break the game plain and simple. All of that I said about needing to be smart with your money and early game economy are killed by shopping free. You need to be wise with which perks you get because of the 4 perk limit, and killed by Perkaholic. I could go on like this, but I imagine you get the point. If you were to ask me about Gobblegums before I did all the Easter eggs, I was super anti-Gobblegum. But now I am a person who has done all the Easter eggs. And what I'm going to tell you might lessen your opinion of me and my gamer skills.
Hey all, Ashton from the future here. In this part of the video, I go on a spill about Gobblegums and at the end call them a necessary evil. I think I must have been on crack when I wrote that because that simply isn't true. Mega Gobblegums are a cheat to make the Easter eggs, which developers had full control over on the difficulty scale, easy. They are a predatory, gambling, pay-to-win device that by existing make the game worse. They are not a necessary evil at all, considering, again, that the developers could have just made the Easter eggs easier. You could make the argument that the Easter eggs are so hard to funnel more people into buying COD points to then get Gobblegums to make things easier, but that's tinfoil area and I don't want to dive into that. I do still agree with one thing that past Ashton said, which is if you do use Gobblegums to do the Easter eggs, I don't blame you at all. I did, and it made my life so much easier. I personally never paid for anything because that would be insane, and got all mine naturally through playing 80 billion hours of zombies. That is a way you can go about it. Anyway, as past me was saying, but I think that's enough rambling. Let's talk about the Black Ops 3 maps.
Origins isn't an original BO3 map, but because of how much it ties into the story of BO3, I felt like it was necessary to play. I can't stress this enough, this map was fucking hard. So hard it took me and Alex a good 462 minutes to do this map, or 7.7 hours. But even with how much we struggled on this map, I still really enjoyed it. The atmosphere is really good. I like the grand World War I battlefield. I like the new Primus characters, the giant robots are really cool, and the stabs are really good wonder weapons that feel really earned. Samantha talks to you throughout the game similar to how you get talked to in Cold War, but it's also entirely different because you don't see her fucking face block your screen when she talks to you. And what she says is so cryptic that you never feel like your hand is being held. The worst part about this map is when I swear to God I would shoot the fucking robot foot to get in it and it would just step and kill me anyway. So overall, I think Origins is an 8.5 out of 10. Shadows of Evil is my favorite BO3 map and just my favorite base zombies map in general. There's a little bit of a contest with Der Eisendrache, but I don't think anything can beat the aesthetic that Shadows provides. I am a sucker for anything with a noir 1940s look, and god damn it, Shadows has just perfected that look. Is the map super obtuse and hard to learn? Yeah, without a doubt. But it's also very satisfying to learn. While you are going to have to watch a 16-minute video or hope to God your friend knows what he's doing, I think overall it's a really fun map to learn. The Apothicon Servant is the goated ass wonder weapon, and I really like the new cast of characters. The worst part about this map is the stupid ass meatball step you need to do for the Easter egg. While Shadows of Evil thankfully only took one attempt due to our previous knowledge of the map, the meatball step was brutal and nearly ended the run multiple times. Trying to coordinate the final step was a pain in the ass, but again, I just felt so satisfied after finishing it, so I think Shadows gets a 9.5 out of 10. The Giant is a fine map, I mean literally just a remake of Der Riese, so not much to say here, like 7 out of 10. Der Eisendrache is really fucking good. Like I heard it was one of the, if not the best zombies map ever made, but I didn't really believe the hype. Then I played it with Alex and yeah, I finally got it. The hype was definitely real. The castle aesthetic is awesome to play through, the map just flows really well. The Panzer Soldat returns, but not on round fucking 8, so he's a bit easier to deal with, which is nicer compared to brutal Origins. But I think the best part of this map, without a doubt, are the bows. Not only are the bows really fucking good, but they're also kind of fun to learn. My job was the Void and the Lightning Bow, and I think I'll always remember exactly what I need to do to get those bows until the day I die. That's also just one advantage that BO3 has over Cold War. Since the maps stand out from each other so much and the Easter eggs are just so fucking obtuse to learn, you will remember these maps by heart. If I were to load into a Der Eisendrache game right now, I think I would remember 70 to 80% of what needed to be done for the bows and the Easter egg. But back to the map itself. The Easter egg doesn't feel super bloated. The steps aren't super annoying to do like some other Easter eggs are. The only one that was a little annoying was the Wisp, but after me and Alex learned our routes to run to find all the Wisps, it really wasn't that bad. Finally, to top it all off, the boss fight this Easter egg has is really fun, and the cinematic you get after you beat the Easter egg is really good. So, Der Eisendrache gets a 9 out of 10. Zebetsu no Shima is definitely the weakest out of the BO3 maps. It's not bad, but it definitely suffers from jungle map syndrome. Jungle map syndrome, of course, is when a jungle map just blends into itself and everything looks the exact fucking same and it's just boring boring to play through. The wonder weapon is on the weaker side and is kind of lame, and the final boss is also on that weaker, lamer side. The map is still fun to play through, and I really like the Easter egg cinematic you get after completing it, but I don't think I would replay this map unless we were doing an Easter egg run, so it gets a 7 out of 10. Rediscovery is the map that nearly broke me. So going into this map, I heard it was one of the hardest Easter egg challenges to do, and the only Easter eggs that were harder were the BO4 maps, but I really think it wouldn't be that bad, right?
I want to cry.
To make things worse, my buddy Alex, who had been doing all the Easter eggs with me up to this point, couldn't be with me on the first day of doing this Easter egg. But I really wanted to get this map finished, so I decided to do it solo, which was just a plain mistake. I did this map solo for an agonizing 8 hours. The step that would always get me and make me fail came in the latter half of the map, with needing to get the Mauler traps. He would either just fucking vanish from existence, or get me murdered because you have to be so close for him to follow you and you're surrounded by 3,000 other zombies. I'm not proud to admit it, but I baby raged out of my mind because of this map. I didn't even make it to the boss fight once during all of these attempts. The next day, Alex was able to rejoin me, and with my knowledge of the map, we got it done in one try, thank fucking God. While the Easter egg is really hard and infuriating, I still think I enjoyed this map. I love the atmosphere of war-torn Stalingrad. The dragons are really cool. I really like the ray gun Mark III, and the final boss fight with the dragon and Nikolai is a really intense but really fun boss fight to play through. But oh my God, this map wanted me to rip my hair out, so it gets an 8 out of 10. Finally, Revelations. For this map, we had my good buddy Adrian Podge join us, who you might remember from the Adam Sandler video, which overall just made things a lot easier. It also helped that Revelations is just on the easier side of the BO3 maps, right next to Zavetsu no Shima. I really like the ethereal nature of this map. I think it's beautiful. Even though all of it is nostalgia bait, it still manages to feel unique and still manages to float really nice. The Easter egg wasn't really too hard, and the final boss fight was kind of a letdown, but I enjoyed the conclusion of the BO3 story, so it gets a 7.5 out of 10.
So with both games talked about and dissected, which experience did I enjoy more? When I was finishing up BO3 and especially Rediscovery, I saw that BO3 and Cold War had pushed me in complete opposite directions.
Cold War was total baby mode where if I wasn't doing the Easter egg, my brain would probably rot from boredom, while BO3 felt like the veins in my forehead were likely to pop due to how much I was trying to use my gamer brain. I personally enjoy something more in the middle, where I'm challenged but not near to the point of baby raging. That's why I like the modded map Wanted so much, because I can still shoot the shit with the boys without needing to use my big gamer brain the entire time. But there are some times where I need to lock in. I like using my big gamer brain, but sometimes it's just a little too much. I don't think you can shoot the shit with the boys on Origins or Rediscovery. Maybe Shadows of Evil and Der Eisendrache if you know the map well enough, but even then they ask a lot of you. But when I am presented with the choice of which one I preferred more, I think I have to go Black Ops 3. I felt so much more satisfaction completing the Black Ops 3 maps compared to the mediocre meh I felt doing the Cold War maps.
But also, dude, I don't blame you if slamming your head into a wall over and over again just isn't fun for you.
Sometimes you just want to have fun with a game. That's well and good in my book. Cold War is just that. It's mediocre fun that anyone can have. Sometimes I don't want a 94-step process just to unlock Pack-a-Punch. That is a reasonable gripe. The Cold War hate I had harbored in my heart was personal to me, because I was excited for Die Machine when it first came out. It was the first Black Ops game I bought since Black Ops 3. I wanted more of what I was used to, and when I didn't get that, I got mad. Sure, the same spices were used, but the food was entirely different, so I hated it. But just because it's food I'm not used to or food I didn't like in the moment doesn't mean it's inherently bad. It just means it's not for me, which brings me to my next point.
All of this is an unfair comparison because both these games are trying to achieve a wildly different goal.
It's broadcasting versus narrowcasting. Cold War Zombies was trying to expand to a more casual audience. Hell, Call of Duty in general has been making that shift since after World at War and Call of Duty 4 released. Look at the skins they're making now. Look at Warzone. They want the most amount of people to play, so the most amount of people spend an obscene amount on skins. That's the main reason I don't like Cold War Zombies. World at War Zombies to Black Ops 3 Zombies, hell, even Black Ops 4 Zombies, feels like a developer passion project. It was never supposed to be more than an extra game mode. It seems they did what they found fun, but what they made was so popular and so fun it grew into a beast that needed to churn out money. So when casual fans were saying maps are too hard, I'm sure the big execs at Activision came down to developers and told them to make it more accessible. Make it more like Warzone. Cold War no longer feels like this developer passion project, where the map and gameplay and story are put first. It feels like a game mode that has one sole purpose: to make money, to sell operator skins. That's why I don't like it, but I still personally understand how people could enjoy it. I was too harsh on it. I shouldn't have made a lazy slight less than 30 seconds into the video. Maybe this is a lesson to understand things more instead of having one vague notion about it. Hopefully that lesson sticks with me as I make more videos.
As always, thank you for watching and thank you for making it to the end of this video. I know it was a super long one and I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I haven't been making more videos. If you're a diehard asser, you probably have heard that a lot, but it's genuine. Trying to make more stuff, just I get distracted easily. So But yeah, as always, I hope you're doing well, and see you in the next one.
We'll slide on it.
My grandfather said this mummy is worth millions.